Yo, 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 what's going on? It's the NOC, the Nerds of Color. And we are back with another ShoPowSho. It's your boy, Kuya P, aka Patrick Michael Strange, the Adobro, the Babinka boy, the leader of the Hala Hala homies in the center gang of the NOC. And of course, I can't do this alone without some of the amazing ates. Of course, as y'all know, we have Kataphorric over in Japan right now doing her teaching thing. All the love to her. And when she's available, we'll bring her back. But I got the girl from the Stuffy Spa, the homie down in VA Beach. What's good, Viva? Valentina, how are you?
Hi, Patrick. It feels like it's been forever.
Right? Yeah, it's been a little bit of, but I've been staying busy. So like, I've been on 100. I don't stop. I'm addicted to the rush. But how's everything with you? It's Thanksgiving week as of this recording.
Yes. Ooh, planning out Thanksgiving dinner. I saw y'all rolling lumpia over at your house.
Yeah. My wife put down like I think 150 wraps of lumpia. It's all set up for the family.
Props, because that's a lot of work.
So yeah, man. Super thankful for you, Tina, as always. And Kat, shout out to you if you're checking this out. Again, ShoPowSho has been one of the blessings within the past year or so of doing this. So you ready to rock and roll, Tina? We got another hot one.
I'm ready. Who are we talking to?
We talking to you know what? I don't know too much about the cats. I'll be honest. My man, we've been putting this out there. We've been spreading the word and getting a lot of love. Thank you to our Filipinx community out there. A cat by the name of JP Zarati hit me up. And I still don't know too much about JP. I just know he's a mover and shaker over there on the West Side. Shout out to the West Coast. We got a lot of West Coast love. That's why I can't wait for this, pandemic to slow down a bit because I'm gonna be heading out there. What's good?
So we can go visit.
Oh, that's the plan, homie. When we can. I just got the booster shot in. Team Pfizer in the house. Nice. But yeah, I plan to be heading out to LA, heading out to the West Coast again because we got a lot of love out there. So shout out to JP Zarati. He was telling me about this young cat named Chris Soriano from the Dynasty Boys. Let me read you a little bit about his bio, and then we're going to bring him in. I got a lot of questions, and hearing this cat story from this write-up that I saw, like, I want to know more. I love just what this cat's all about from what I see. And there's some amazing stuff that we're going to get from this cat, so I can't wait. Chris Soriano was born in San Diego, California. Shout out to the 619, because that's where I was born. So shout out to the 619. He is a director, producer, writer, and actor. Soriano is also an award-winning speaker for young adults, executives, and public servants. I love that, by the way. I do my thing doing that as well. So shout out to you. That's mad respect there. He's the co-founder of Dynasty Boys, a movie production company dedicated to sharing stories of empowering minorities across America. Chris has been featured on CNN, ABC News, and NBC. And in 2018, he raised awareness on environmental issues by setting a Guinness World Record. As you see, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot more, but let me just bring him in because I want this brother to tell his story. Welcome to the ShoPowSho. You see him on the screen. Kuya, Chris Soriano. You can unmute yourself, man. I'm shooting off air horns right now, but you're not going to hear it. I didn't want to deafen you. It'll be in post, so you're not deafened. What's good, Chris? Kuya, Chris.
Hey, what's good? Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction, and what a privilege to be on your show, my brother.
Definitely, man. Welcome, man. Shout out again to JP for making this meeting happen, man. So honored to just get with these West Coast cats like yourself. Show that East Coast, West Coast love, man. Again, to our Filipinx community, man. It's beautiful. I see there's a lot of similarities between you guys. So I love that. I want to dig into that and get that hunger because we're both trying to just educate and inspire the next generation. And so props to you for handling your business out there on the West Coast, brother. Oh, and you froze again. My man's frozen. We may be having some technical issues, y'all. I'll fix this in post so that way there's not too much of a delay time. Shout out to Chris. Hopefully his thing will be up and we'll be back running and rolling in just a second. Tina, are you still good? There we go. Chris, are we back in here? All right, we'll fix that. Edit in post. I'm gonna go ahead and throw it over to Tina to kick us off just in case we have any more technical issues. Tina, go ahead. Let's rock this.
So Chris, we always started out because we want to know, where are you from? But like, yes. Where are you really from? And like, where are your parents from?
Right. Beautiful question. Where am I from to third power? Both my parents, They're from Philippines. My mother's from Pampanga. My dad's from Romblon. And, I was born in San Diego. So, representing, because my dad was in the Navy. My mother was a nurse. So the typical Filipino, love story right there. And they made me here. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Shout out to San Diego, National City in the house.
Yes, I love.
Still got a lot of fam out there, Chris. So I may have to bump into. Like I said, I'm planning to head out that way. So we'll have to connect when I'm in the area, my man.
Absolutely, that's a no-brainer. When you're here, we got to throw some sort of fiesta, go to Tita's, Conchings.
Hell yeah, I love it. All right, so what I like to do off of Tina's first question out the gate is, and again, we do Tina's question. It kind of surprises people out the gate because it's that kind of weird stereotype question that we get as mixed kids, as people of color, when we're around the community. So we like to play with that. And because that's what's the real talk, but at least we can do it amongst ourselves in our community. So with that being said, to jump onto Tina's question, what I like to do before we dig into your full story is to also show love and light and energy to those that came before. We want to talk about, we want you to, maybe give us a little insight into relatives, ancestors, your mother and father's love story. What was just some significance or even anything that maybe showed glimmers from them that you were then that then came in through you when you were brought into the world. You know what I'm saying? So maybe a little bit of that, just some props and just some energy towards the Sorianos of before that you can possibly share with us before we dig into your story.
Wow, what a beautiful question, and also, opportunity to share where my family's come from. No one's ever asked me that, so thank you. And that's the most important, right? Where did we come from? Who are those that came before us? And my father, his dad, or my dad's uncle was a priest, and his aunts were nuns. So my dad grew up in the church. Whereas my mother, she grew up really poor. She grew up on a mango farm. She, had to figure out how to sell to survive. They both met in America, in National City. So when you said National City, that's like, oh, that's where my parents met. It's all connecting together. My dad was biking around town, and my mother was, at some bar or club with her friends. And so, one thing led to another. They met, and the Navy really created a lot of opportunities for the Sorianos to come here. So, all those three things came together there.
I love it. And did any of them have arts, anything that, you would kind of take on in yourself, that, because I know you're an actor and filmmaker, writer, were any of them involved with the arts at all?
What's funny is my father was creative in terms arts expression, but when he was young, he was an extra in films. In his area, they were shooting a lot of movies with the Lito Lapid characters and stuff like that. So my dad was just a little background extra, never really, speaking role. Whenever I'd be on set and my dad would be there, he'd be like, "Oh, this is when I was young. It takes me back when I would do this." So it's always a nice, homage to that.
That's really cute. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, definitely super beautiful. He started at one level and then you took it to another level. That's amazing, man. That's really cool. I appreciate you sharing that part of your story. So let's talk about a young Chris growing up in the 619. Tell me about Chris Soriano from ages 1 to 10.
Oh, man, not much there. Just like a nerd. I was the only child. So, I grew up and my family just would work. My dad would be gone for 6 months. My mother would work 2 jobs. She worked, 16-hour shifts for 20 plus years. So my mother's a hard worker, like a lot of Filipina mothers out there. So, and that was standard to her. So, I would never see her. I'd always be at daycares, 6 to 6 programs, after school programs, so, but I knew that from a young age, okay, I got to work hard because, family functions, there was no going to Disneylands. It was okay, I got to work just as hard as my mother, or my dad, who's out there in the Navy, who's always gone. So, yeah.
That's that. I feel that. And that's really dope of you to see that as a young cat and then want to take that kind of, that ethic, that work ethic and drive to channel that into something more later on. But with that, because I was a young, military brat myself, my father was in the military. That's how I ended up in San Diego, and being born there as well. It gave me a lot of time. My mom worked at the Navy Exchange, and so she was out, so as having that free time, what did you get into? Because I'm sure that kind of gave you that freedom to maybe check out films or find some other hobbies that would then you might still have to this day, or you started off for a little bit and you're not into anymore. What did you get into as a young kid?
Oh, I got into just I was a nerd, so I didn't really have too much friends, so I couldn't really play sports.
Hey, well, you see my background, so you see I got into the comic books. Ain't nothing wrong with being a nerd.
Hey, you make being a nerd look cool, though. You see, I didn't have any of that stuff. I was watching movies, and my mom would always be like, "Why don't you go out there and go play?" And I was like, "Well, you don't want to. There's a lot of gang violence going on. You'd have to, in order to hang out, you got to throw it down and fight someone, show that you're tough." And so that was which I thought was normal, because people are fighting left and right, and so my mother homeschooled me at an early age, like from 13 all the way school. So, I was really antisocial growing up, and I knew through movies that, I wanted to not be that weird, awkward kid that, was homeschooled and couldn't talk to anybody. So going into college, I majored in communication so I could learn how to speak better and, just practice on that. And it was so hard for me to memorize names in college because, I went so many years without, really talking to too many people. So, it's just an interesting thing to learn how to reintegrate back into society when you're still young,
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's amazing. And I want to dig into that. There's a lot of richness there. And I saw Tina's eyes light up as you were saying that we can dig in for conversation. Okay. So again, yeah, you were, you weren't going out there. You weren't very social out there. So what did you find for yourself diving into? So you said nerd. So did you discover comic books? You said film. What were some of the films that you recall watching and that maybe influenced you later on as well? What are just some early influences that would kind of take you from the chaotic craziness of the outside and the gangs, and that you'd kind of just close in and that would make you feel comfortable?
Very beautiful question, because the films that I would they would play all these movies and but the ones that I really related to were movies that could, I would think would help me out there in the street or something, and I remember seeing Goodfellas at an early age. One of my older cousins brought it over and I was like, what's this? Italian mafia. And I was like, oh, that young kid's like me. And all of a sudden he's like, from as long as I could remember, I've always wanted to be a gangster. That's like the beginning intro where it's like, oh shoot, that could be me, and I started, getting inspired the wrong way. And he was like, I got this other movie, Boys in the Hood. I also got this Menace to Society. And it was just like, this is what's happening in my area. So it was a lot of things I could really relate to. John Singleton's work, to even a lot of stories of gritty gangs. I really liked it because it just showed something okay, I could see that guy. I know that type of person in this community. So that's probably why I try to put an element of realness into, the movies that I make. And so that was my, connection there.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. So you were consuming the content. Did you get a hold of a camcorder around the house? Or did you have access to one? What steps did you take any steps from again, we're in 1 to 10 now, going into 10 to 20, going into high school, to maybe even pursue this a little bit, or even maybe take the camcorder and film your GI Joes. We've had some of those cats, filmmakers, come on and do their own little home video. Shout out to Patricio Janelsa with Lumpia with a Vengeance, who's gathering his friends.
Yeah,
Patricio on as well. Tell me a little bit about that, if you did any pursuits to that degree.
I did. I wanted to, but then there was just so much extraneous variables that really impacted my life. And, for instance, I remember just walking to the liquor store one night such a long story, but I'm just gonna shorten it. But you know, I remember just walking, and my friends or people in my neighborhood, their older brothers, you know, Mexican gangsters, saw me, and then they were like, you know, hey, you don't want to come kick it with us, Soriano? And they always joked that I was half Mexican because of my last name, and I was like, you know, no, I'm good. And they're like, no, come on, we're gonna have a good time. And it was like 2-3 cars, you know, and so it was so full. I hopped on, you know, somebody's lap, and we went to the park. It was night, and you know, I thought I was just gonna hang out. I was like, cool, if I hang out with these guys, nobody's gonna mess with me in this neighborhood. And sure enough, these people start pulling out their riders, you know, the gloves, and I was like, okay, you know, this looks like, you know, something's gonna happen. I didn't know what's gonna happen to me, and so, you know, they started forming a around me, and they're like, you know, Soriano, if you want to hang out with us, you got to show us you're down. I was like, oh yeah, I'm down. I'm here with you guys, right?
They
like,
jumped you in.
Yeah, they're like, you got to fight this dude, and I was like, I don't want to fight this dude. Like, come on. And they're like, if you don't fight him, we're gonna jump you. And I was like, oh shit, okay, I'll fight him. I don't got a choice, you know. So I remember balling up my fist, facing this like really tall Mexican dude. I was 13. And this was like a multicultural gang. So it was like Mexicans, Pacific Islanders, Samoans, you know, I won't say which color it was, but nonetheless, you know, I was facing this guy, and I remember praying, because, you know, these guys were at least like 21, 27, you know, around there, OGs. And I remember balling my fist, and right away somebody kicked me in my feet. And my perspective, if it was a lens, it went from facing this guy like this to now the sky, you know, because like I got kicked down. And I remember seeing like, you know, the darkness and the moon and all that, but all these like hands coming at me like really fast, like super fast, super fast. And then I didn't feel it though. And that's what was the most ironic part. I thought it was going to hurt, but I couldn't feel anything. And I remember balling up and just praying. It's like, God, please help me. Somebody, please help me. You know, at 13. And you know, I would hear him say, break his nose, and like, kick his back, you know. But, you know, after a while they stopped. And then the guy who got me jumped was like, you know, he reached down and he said, you know, welcome to the family. And I was like, fuck, this ain't my family. I don't want to be a part of this family. And that's kind of what stopped all my goals and dreams. I remember when they dropped me off on my doorstep, you know, I was cut here. You probably can't see it from here, but I was cut here. I was bloodied, you know, bruised. You know, my mother said, you know, what happened? And I just didn't tell her. And, you know, till this day, I you know, I get a little, you know, PTSD talking about it. But, you know, the next day when, you know, some of my other friends on the block would see me, they were like, oh, you got jumped in too. You know, it was happening to kids in my neighborhood. And I was like, oh, where'd you get jumped into? And it was like, oh, I'm a part of this set. I was like, well, fuck, doesn't that make us enemies? You know, like, I don't know, shit, you know, so, you know, it was like the beginning of, who are you? Where are you from? So when you said, where are you from 3 times? I was like, is that 3rd time asking me which gang or set I represent? Because no one's asked me that in a long time. So I was like, hey, welcome to the ShoPowSho. You know, where you from? So,
we're reliving past trauma.
Oh yeah, but no. You know, it's all now to help you know, other people that may have, because one of those kids in my block, I remember going to like a store in the area, and I remember seeing him, and he's like in his 30s now. I'm 32. He looked all drugged up, messed up, and he recognized me, but he's still a part of the set. He still got to put in work and so forth. And I looked at him, and he looked at me, and then I just, you know, placed my order, and then I dipped, and then he was like, what was your name again? I didn't tell him my name, but he, you know, he chose a different path. He stayed true to that life. I could see it in his eyes and his tattoos, and he's looking at me as like a different guy now, you know? So it's crazy how some people, they, you know, stay with that life forever.
Oh yeah. Damn, dude, that's real talk. I haven't shared it much on the show, but yeah, I got jumped. And what really hit me as you were talking about that in my young juvenile idiotic ways, but what really hit me is that you don't feel it when it's happening.
Yes.
You know, it's not till like later on, then when you see the cuts and the bruises on you, that, oh shit, you really went through that. And excuse my language, but right. yeah, like I went totally numb. But thank you again for sharing that. And I know it can be traumatic, but it's so very important. And I know you do this as well by speaking as well. these experiences, because it's very important to share. You know, I've been there, done that, but look how your life can change. Look what you can do now. That's just one phase of your life. There's a whole nother set of life that you're going to live. And so I thank you tremendously from the bottom of my heart to share that aspect, because I do the same, man. It's going to mean a lot to the viewers that are watching this, that you can turn your life around and you can do more. So really, man, from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate that. So man, woo! I know I'm feeling it too, brother. Like that hit me. Like, damn, yeah, I did go blank. That's real talk, and I hadn't heard anybody say it like that in a while. So that hit.
And I've never met anybody who could share that. Just the fact that you reciprocated, like, yo, that happened to me. And I met some other people from different sets where, you know, they're no longer banging, but it happened to them too. And so I'm like, dang, what were y'all thinking if y'all were our enemies? What was going, you know, we're just going based on peer pressure, what people are telling us to do. And, you know, yeah, nonetheless, I don't want to dive deep into here's gang 101 and here, you know, here's the right way to know it. But this is pretty deep stuff. And, you know, one thing I've learned just speaking, I just talk to students or whoever, is that, you know, similar to military troops, you know, when they come back from the war, what helps them self-disclose and recover is by sharing their experiences. When we keep it bottled up, you know, it'll just like haunt us in our dreams, and when we get in an argument because somebody doesn't know that it triggered it. You know, just the other day I was at like this conference where somebody was trying to sell me something, and there was a dude hovering in front of me the same way those gangsters jumped me in, and he was like, why don't you want to buy a part of our program? And I was like, I don't want to buy. And he's embarrassing me in front of this whole audience. He's like, you should buy. And I was like, afterwards, I told him, I was like, yo, bro, like the way you pressured me in front of that audience, I didn't appreciate it. It reminded me when I got hazed into that gang when I was young. So like for other people in the future, shouldn't be pressuring them like that in front of everyone, and, you know, so on and so forth. But just still trauma could hit us is what I'm trying to say.
I'm sure they knew what they were doing.
Right.
Hazing people into it. Yeah. Wow. So can you
go ahead, Tina?
So can you take us through, like, how did you pull away from it? How did you then, you mentioned going to school, like, was that the end of it when you moved away? How did you come out of the family that you were hazed into?
Yeah, it's such a beautiful question. Well, I never really you know, you stay in what you're in forever, but I just didn't put in work. You know, I was a kid, so they knew that you know, I was not the right ideal kid they could groom to be a part of, you know, this life. So, you know, and pretty much in a nutshell, I never showed up, and they're like, oh, okay, let's just not bother him. Let's let him do his own thing. And so, but, you know, with that territory comes like unwanted, like I remember walking around in the neighborhood, and then like a group of people just wanted to jump me for no reason. And they would come looking for me just because I was associated with those folks. I was like, how the hell did they know? You know, this is before like, you know, social media. I think Zanga was the only thing, but I ain't publishing on my Zanga like, yo, I'm part of this set. You know, it was like, where'd these people come from? And they're looking for me. And so I was like, dang, you know, so I was homeschooled still in the area. But, you know, it was just more so, it just died down. The threats eventually stopped. They stopped looking for me because I wasn't trying to start nothing with them. And people ended up getting locked up one by one. And I just went to college. And then, you know, I just never repped the set out loud or anything. I just did my own thing. And you know, that was it.
I feel that. Along with that, since we're right there, because before we like dig into the college portion, an aspect that's big that we haven't touched upon that we put within this time period is, hey man, you're Filipino. Growing up or discovering that you're Filipino. Tell me when you first realized that you're Filipino. I don't know. I don't know if you said you were mixed or both parents were Filipino, but like discovering that, did you know the language? Did you learn stuff and elements about our culture? Tell me what that was like for you.
Oh, great question. Because, you know, growing up Filipino, I was never really, you know, I thought I was more Mexican because people like your last name Soriano, but both my family are from the Philippines, like, you know, so I'm hella Filipino. And then, you know, when they would tell me like, oh, you're Mexican, I was like, I guess I am Mexican. Shave your head. I guess I'll shave my head, you know, like you just believe what people tell you when you're young. And so when I realized I was, Filipino, which I knew growing up, I never really put too much thought about it. I wasn't really like proud because I was confused. I was like, am I American? Am I Filipino? It's not cool to be Filipino, man. And then all these cool people started bringing it, like Pacquiao and his fights. I was like, damn, it is cool to be Filipino, and then, all of a sudden I'm a bandwagon Filipino from the real pure Filipinos. I'm like, no, I'm trying to be Filipino here, So, I'm incredibly proud of my culture today, but growing up, I was not as proud. I was embarrassed. I, didn't even talk about it, and because when I visited the Philippines at a young age, they were like, oh, he's not Filipino, and I was like, I am. Yeah, they're like, ambo yun, hindi siya Filipino, they were like speaking Tagalog. And then I'm like, damn, I guess I'm not Filipino enough. But now it's all nothing but love,
Yeah, no, and real talk, thank you for admitting that, because it's also why we do this show as well. And because we're both, myself and Tina and Kat are all mixed kids, and we've all experienced our Filipino-ness in different ways, in different stages. And there's a lot of guests we've had prior on that, really kind of shut down or had issues, with being Filipino. Some were very proud, just and everything in between. So no, I really appreciate that. And it's who you are inside, whether you come back to it, whether there's good things, bad things, it's still us at the end of the day. And we all have our own journeys. We're not a monolith, y'all. And that's what we're showing with this show as well. So no, I appreciate you adding to that. So, okay. As I see also, you had a low GPA, you denied admission to college. Let's get into that college aspect. Well, actually, even before that, because you said you were homeschooled, right?
Yes.
What was, I actually want to touch upon that. I'm sorry. So I apologize advancing a little bit, but just that, that homeschool difference, because I think you may be our first homeschooled.
I don't think we've talked to someone who was homeschooled.
We did have a homeschool, Tina?
Hey.
Okay. Yes. So you're our first. So what was that like? Because, it's at school that, a lot of us, change up. And I know you kind of already said it was weird for you because it's not till college that you started talking with people because you're just at home. So tell me that difference in aptitude and all of that and to the world and trying to pursue things.
Yeah, it was really, it's hard to encourage yourself when you're by yourself, right?
Yeah.
You have to give you that self-talk at an early age. And it's like, I just felt like I couldn't do a lot of things. Like I can't go up to that girl I want to talk to. I can't, go to, I don't know. Everything was just like times 10 harder. But when I would watch movies, it would like, okay, maybe I could be like James Bond. Maybe I could be like that guy in the Goodfellas, maybe, these little movies gave me the little confidence boost. But at the end of the day, it was always like, I'm in my own head. So it wasn't until I graduated high school with a bunch of homeschool kids that I didn't even know. Like, oh yeah, look at all of us. And then, we go into college and I'm thrown into it. And then people start talking to me normally because they don't expect I'm homeschooled. So they're like, hey, did you get the class thing? They're like, oh shit, I got friends. I'm like, yeah, I did get a class thing. I'm like, I'm talking too much now because I don't want to lose these people, So I'm like, yeah, my name is Chris and blah, blah, blah. I became the opposite because, I just wanted to bond with people so much. And, so in a nutshell, that was, my homeschool experience. Nothing too crazy.
Got you, man. Okay. So let's get into college. How did it finally happen? Because you said you got denied initially. And where did you go?
I got denied to San Diego State University because of my low GPA. But more importantly, in my mind, I was like, man, I still was haunted from the past stuff, the gang stuff or anything, that environment. And my mindset was like, if I don't get into college, I'm going to be like one of those people. So I was like, man, I got to find a way when there is no way. I got to really push myself and I won't take no for an answer. It was like survival to me, And so that's when I was like, okay, shit, they denied me. And then I got my letter in the mail and I was like, okay, it's over. That's a wrap. But then it wasn't until my admissions counselor was like talking smack and she was like, yeah, you didn't get in. So, you got to figure out another plan. Instead of giving me hope, she was discouraging me. And so I said, nah, I'm going to find a way. I'm going to make a plan. And so that's when I said, I there was a quote or something that I read that said, the front door's locked and the back door is jammed. The window option. And you know, I love that quote so much because it shows you got to be persistent. You can't just take no for an answer. And so I was like, how the hell do I get into this college? And no one's ever been able to reverse a denial. So I said, screw it. I'm going to hit up the president of the university and maybe he'll give me a shot. You know, I've been through too much to get this far to get a denial. And so, you know, I emailed him from my BlackBerry at the time. And, you know, I was like, you know, I threw him with that lyrical line. Anyways, I just said, I believe letters of hope can make a big difference. It's how Martin Luther King got out of Birmingham jail. I believe that if the door is locked and the back door is jammed, the window should be the next option. You know, basically, you know, I hit him with some poetry, and then I got a response, you know, like at least a week and a half later, and they told me that my admissions, my letter, my application has been forwarded to their admissions appeal committee, and if it's unanimous, they'll let me in. And I remember Googling, you know, what the hell does unanimous mean? You know, because I didn't even know what that meant. And so, you know, it means everybody in their committee has to agree. And there's at least 8 people on that committee. And long story short, they voted and, you know, they let me in. So. Yeah.
My boo hi, brother. My boo hi, my guy. I love that. I love that energy. That's beautiful, dude.
Talking your way into college. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Hell yeah.
Oh. Wow.
All right, so we're in school now, man, and now you're awakening. You're now getting that social interaction. And I'll tell you, man, you're not a bad looking brother, man. You would have probably been killing. So I'm sure they're coming at you now, you know, because you were closed up, homeschooled. Now you're in the big world of college, man. Tell me about that life, bro.
Oh man, it was great being in college. I loved every single moment, and to a point where I was like, I'm not going to time. Like I was invited to like my first like house party out there, and I was like, you know, that's cool and everything, I should go. But then I was like, I remember back to my mother, you know, working hard. I have this weird thing that if I'm having a good time, I kind of stop, because I'm like, fuck, my mother worked 2 jobs for like 20 years, you know, I just can't like, and you know, I've never admitted that until now, but that's probably why I never went to like these house things. And I said, well, all these people are partying and all this stuff. I'm going to go work in what I want to be. And at the time in college, I wanted to become a filmmaker, a director, but I couldn't get any filmmaker jobs. Like, it's just, you know, they don't just give them, you know? So I said, let me major in something else that's similar to making movies. And that's when I said, I'll be a journalist. You know, maybe I could report on, you know, like stuff that's happening that people don't know. You know, there's like what happened to me, or, you know, anything in the world, you know, I could be a, you know, investigative journalist or something. And so I ended up, you know, applying to every news station in San Diego. And, you know, of course, all my friends and buddies were like, yeah, man, why don't you just party, man? College is the only time to have a good time, you know, you work after. And I was like, nah, screw that, because afterwards, y'all gonna be wanting a job and nobody's gonna give it to you because you ain't got no experience. So I felt like, nah, I'm gonna work right now while I'm in college and y'all could party it up. So nobody hired me in San Diego. And so I said, I'm that crazy that I'll go to another state and work there while I'm in college. So I applied everywhere, and some news station in Arizona was like, yeah, I'll hire you if you could, you know, show up to the interview tomorrow. And I drove from San Diego all the way to Arizona. It's about 3.5 hours. I auditioned for their weekend anchor, and I got it while I was in college. So, wow. You know, I was going to school 40 hours a week and working 15 hours, 8-hour shifts on the weekends for a news station in Arizona to go back to school another day. So I did that for like 2 years.
That's drive, yo. That is drive. I love it. Woo.
Thank you.
Man, that's crazy. You had something, Tina? I'm sorry if I cut you.
No. I'm just like
right.
I wish I had
that. Imagine.
I wish I had that in college.
All right, so we're in college. You're now getting that film education, you know, as we're on the weekend. So it was nonstop. So that was that like what it was like for like the all 4 years, or how did all that balance out and leading into, you know, graduation?
So when I graduated, I had experience, you know, but I felt like I was burnt out, you know, working.
I can imagine, brother.
Right. And I didn't realize that, man, this news gig is not as exciting as I thought it'd be, because when you're reporting homicides, suicides, death, destruction every single day, kind of makes you question whether you want to do that for the rest of your life. And I told myself, it was cool covering drug tunnels to burning buildings. But like, I was like, I really don't want to do that anymore, And so I was so burnt out that I said, I want to make like a nonprofit, something to give back, just to recharge myself again. And at the time, TED Talks were really popular, and I watch them just to encourage myself, and hear what other smart, sophisticated people were saying. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to organize one of these. I'm going to call it Clever Talks. That sounds pretty clever. And, I just did a small one in my hometown in San Diego. And then, not knowing what would happen. And a bunch of military troops showed up. And I was like, whoa, this is pretty crazy. And these were people that were young veterans that served 4 years and they get out and they're like, yo, man, this conference was awesome because like, I was having really bad thoughts of life and, thank you for helping me transition back to civilian life. And I was like, what transition, civilian life? What's up with all these big words? Like, I don't even know what I'm doing, I'm just trying to put on a good event, to inspire all of us, including myself. And so they liked it so much that, I started putting on more of these conferences to a point where we, Shark Tank's Mark Cuban came all the way down to speak at our conference, so it was a trip to like, nobody, and all of a sudden a billion there. And, it was really awesome.
Yo, yeah, that's insane. I wanted to get to that whole Mark Cuban thing, because I was checking out your site that you actually like, I don't know if it was tweeted at him. Can you bring us to how that whole relationship started? And because you had to like fly out, I think I saw. Can you tell that story?
Yes, it's a very brief one, but in a nutshell, I was with my girlfriend and we were working late at night, trying to put on these conferences. And, she was telling me to focus and like, hey, stop, digressing. We got a whole event to plan. And I was like, a lot of these troops are asking me about business advice. And, I don't know anything about business. I'm just trying to put on a conference. And she was like, well, we should get more experts in business. And in our small co-working space, Shark Tank would always play. And I was like, why don't we ask one of these sharks to speak to the troops? They know something. And then, she was like, yeah, but, they're probably going to charge us a lot of money, or something. I said, well, why don't we just email one of them? She was like, yeah, right. Like email a shark on Shark Tank. I said, no, I swear, like, why don't we just try it? It's not going to cost us anything. And so she was like, yeah, whatever, do your thing, boyfriend, girlfriend argument a little. And then, all of a sudden, I was like, let me prove her I could do this shit. So I Google, Mark Cuban's email, and you could do this. Anybody could do it. And it popped up, I was like, oh, damn, is that his email? So, I straight up said, in my, way I got into college way, Mr. Cuban, I believe letters of hope can make a big difference. It's how Martin Luther King, the whole spiel. And then, on the subject
front
line,
door's locked.
Yeah.
The back door's jammed. Oh, I love it.
Exactly. Exactly. He's probably reading that going, who the hell delivers this line? But, he responded after 30 minutes. And I was like, whoa, is this him? Could this really be, the billionaire Mark Cuban? And so I responded to his email, and then I never heard anything back. And I was like, damn it, what happened? I thought we were just vibing. I thought we were talking. And then I just felt like I thought I had a lead. And then, my girl was like, see, I told you that could have been a spam person. That's not really Mark Cuban. And I felt really like sad. And so I was like, no, screw this. I'm going to email him every single day until he responds to me. And I did that for like 7 days. I didn't hear anything. And I was like, dang it. Now I feel like, like a loser. So that's when I was like, I got in another email from one of his publicists that was like, yo, you got to pressure Mark. You got to tell him like, yo, you in or you out. I was like, I can't say that to a billionaire. Like, that sounds scary, But I did it anyway. I said, dear Mr. Cuban, I was wondering, are you in or you out? And then, on that like 12th email, he responded in 3 words, I'll be there. And I was like, whoa, I get this is a contractual agreement. I'm going to promote this on the news. And so, no formal agreement, nothing. He just said he'll be there. And homeboy showed up in his own private jet the day of our conference. dedicated his time for us like half of the day, and it was insane.
That's so wild, bro.
Yeah.
Yo, crazy.
I feel like I've been in your girlfriend's shoes, and I'd be like, that's just silly. Why would he wouldn't do that?
You know how it is. See, I just got lucky. I was supposed to be the silly one till the end, but somehow it worked out.
I just love this continuation of drive from that college joints and then this Mark Cuban experience. That's so, bruh. I love it. I love that energy. All right, so man, you're telling your stories though. So like this is kind of like what you found as a calling, right? You were going to college, going to get your quote unquote film training in Arizona, and then you shift out of that to then speak, become a speaker, and you put on these classes, conferences. So
if I can add to that,
please do.
Because I was just telling Mark that the only person that was donating to our nonprofit to us to be sustainable was like my mom. That was it, It was like, and so he had said, "Is there anything I can do to help?" And he had given us over $340,000 via email to help support our mission. Crazy, right? Yeah, I was like, that was insane. I know, right? So it was a real blessing. Mark is not just a guy who shows up and empowers the troops. The guy puts his money where his mouth is, and really, until this day, I email him for advice, like on movie making. He owns Magnolia Pictures. He owns a production company. So like, yeah, he got everything. Like if I need advice, he's always there to respond. At least not every 30 minutes now, but it takes a day, but he responds. So anyway.
That's absolutely beautiful, brother. So with that being said, with all that, where did you find that confidence, bro? Because again, you were, like you said, by your own admission, you were a closeted cat, growing up. Then you go to college and then you find your voice there. But this outspokenness and again, even that drive coming out of high school, like you said, to get into to San Diego State, where you had the fortitude to be like, to the dean, let me in, the whole spiel that you said with hope, and now with Mark Cuban. And so taking all that and speaking in front of people, having that lived mentality where you're comfortable in yourself and your soul, and then translating that life experience of what you went through to do that. Because I get a lot of people are like with me when I do a lot of stuff, like, how does that come out? To me, it took a little bit of time, being honest with you. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm very comfortable with myself because it's all about now the next generation and inspiring them, because I want the most, because I have a beautiful little girl that I want her to have a whole world. You know what I'm saying? So for you, brother, I applaud you and I adore that, man. So just if you could talk about how you developed the cojones.
Where did that audacity come from?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Beautiful word. And I think it just came from the being naive and like knowing that you have nothing to lose. I mean, y'all seen Titanic, he playing poker. Like, he's like, when you got nothing to lose. Maybe that's me right there. If you don't take the shot, you lose 100% of shots you don't take. Right. I read that on Instagram quote, but it's like, it's true, because who would have thought one email would lead me to a relationship with a billionaire to then get more than $250,000 all via email, to being able to, the story gets crazier. I mean, connecting with Pacquiao to making a movie. It's like, I just took a chance, but there is a lot of, you're crazy, this won't work out. I guess the world is seeing the successful 3, but there's like 100 of things that I've done that just never really panned out too. So, it's a balance. Yeah.
I feel that. That's so true too. Yeah. There's a lot of losses before you get to that win. And it's that losses that'll toughen you up, and I'm sure, as an actor, you get, it's 95% rejection, 95% before you get that 5% yes. And then you can celebrate those wins and those goals. So let's talk about the filmmaking aspect, and also this Guinness World Record attempt or record. I think it was a world record. Which came first? Let's talk about Dynasty Boys and the Guinness World Record.
Yes. In regards to the Guinness World Record, I had a good buddy of mine has a car wash shop in San Diego called Soapy Joe's. And he was, trying to find a way to like, do more good for the community, raise awareness of his brand. And, I was just like, man, like if you want to do good and do some stuff for like being eco-friendly, it was just like random brainstorm session. I said, maybe we got to go big and like, maybe you got to break a world record or something. And he was like, well, do you know anything about that? And at the time I didn't, but I was like, yeah, I know all about that. And so I just Googled how to break a world record, and it said there, all the steps, it's free. I mean, anybody could break a world record. And he was like, well, what bright ideas do you have then? Like, how would we break this record? I was like, and I remember seeing the car air freshener on his desk because he gives those out free for everyone. And I was like, we'll make the biggest car air freshener. And I said it with assertiveness, like, this is how it's going to go down. And he was like, I like we have to calculate a lot of air freshener material. And, anyways, long story short, it happened, and we did it. It was easy. And we got like worldwide exposure. And it was like, I'm standing there next to this big air freshener going like, yep, that was just another thought that, came out of the blue. So random. I know. It's like, is this a Forrest Gump story? Where are we going with this? Right. It's not.
My man, that's so wild. Oh my gosh.
Hilarious.
I'm just seeing the big tree, those big pine trees that air fresheners that a lot of people have. That's crazy. Hilarious. Okay, Dynasty Boys, brother. Where did the Dynasty Boys come from? Your production company and developing Zeus, and how this all came about.
During the pandemic, at the beginning of it, 2019, I wanted to, everybody was forced home. We couldn't really do our events and our conferences. So I walked away from doing events because we just couldn't, So that's when I said, I want to go back to my dream to make a movie. It was something that always, if everyone's going to do something in a pandemic and be creative, now's the time. And so I wrote a script called Dynasty Boys. I wanted it to be in the hood, back to what I was saying, those movies that inspired me, but more so on Asian gang. I really wanted it to cover, because we don't see any movies about it besides Gran Torino, which I thought was pretty cool. But that's East Coast. I'd love to show what's happening on the West Coast. And so when I had developed it, a big thing that I struggled with was financing. And so I was like, dang, I can't, everybody in the pandemic, money is tight. And so I was like, man, my writer and we fell through. So, and all these hate crimes started happening to Asians. So I was just like, man, what on earth? I can't get my goal. I really want to write this, and I just don't know how to do it. And so when, I was like, I'll rewrite the story. Instead of writing something about gangs and Dynasty Boys, what's something that a nation could use in these tough times? And I thought of like a character like Rocky, and I thought, what if these hate crimes happen to an Asian boxer? And I was like, ooh, that's a good story. And so, I penned a whole new story in February or like January of this year. And I was like, screw it, I'll find a way to make this movie no matter what. And I just, got people that were like unemployed because of the pandemic that lived in our apartment complex. And I was like, look, if we wait for this pandemic to blow over, chances are we're going to be out of jobs. But together we can use all our skills and make something. That way we'll be the only ones that was shooting when there was stay-at-home orders, And so they all kind of were like, all right, this guy's kind of crazy, but screw it. Let's take the chance. And so, we shot Zeus, the screenplay that I wrote, in 21 days. And I said, let's, cost efficient. Let me use my old childhood home. Let me ask if I could use their apartments, buildings that were really not used, and gyms that were suffering because of the pandemic. I said, we're going to give you exposure if you give us your venue. And long story short, we got everything like through resourcefulness, even food we got donated every single day from different businesses, because we were like doing something pretty epic, right? We're making a movie, and even the boxing gloves, you name it, we were very resourceful, and we finished the whole production in 21 days and we edited it in 30. So we finished everything in 90. And that's when it got the attention of Manny Pacquiao, because I DM'd him. So yeah.
Oh, are you kidding me right now? The Manny Pacquiao happened to an email?
Yeah, DM, I put Manny Pacquiao to raise awareness of Asian hate crimes. That was the first sentence. And then after that, I explained, because I remember somebody would DM me random stuff, but they're spammers, like make $1,000. And I always remember seeing the first 4 words. So I was like, man, if I DM Manny to inspire, or Manny to raise awareness of Asian hate crimes, maybe he'll see that, in the first 4 words of the inbox when you DM him, whether I'm spam or not. And they responded, the team responded, everybody was like, yes. And, a few days later, they were doing their campaign of like, fight me instead. So I was like, heck yeah, I was at the right place at the right time. We're both fighting for the same thing. Let's promote this movie. And so, we shot the movie with nobody. We're not big stars. It was my first film, so the fact he put his name on there was like everything to us, because that's when ABS-CBN called. That's when CNN called. That's when, ain't nobody was calling us before, but it was until Manny put his name on there that they started calling.
I'm blown right now, dude. Great. Wow, dude. Congrats, man. That's insane. Insane. So then my other question is, so like I'm seeing guerrilla filmmaking, which I love as an independent filmmaker, as a younger cat. That's what I was doing until I I joined the union and I then became more of a professional. But I love, dude, I'm falling in love with you with this drive, because that's what it takes. If you want to make it, you want goals to happen, you want dreams to happen, you got to grind, you got to slug it out. And you've been doing that, brother. I love it, man. So, and I just remembered how I linked up with JP, I believe, was through the Paper Tigers, which I did a lot of coverage on this past year. Shout out to the whole Paper Tigers team. And I believe JP was one of the producers on the Paper Tigers. So how did that relationship match up? Because you obviously had the Pacquiao connection, getting all these other producers to get down with Zeus and Dynasty Boys.
Yes, JP and his wife believed in our vision. He really wanted to support us. And so we wanted to take this film with national approach, however we can. And with this experience with Paper Tigers, I felt that he would be the perfect fit. I saw Paper Tigers too. And I didn't see the movie, but I saw the release of it. And I said, if I could connect with somebody from that team, it would be amazing. And so JP and his wife believed in our vision, even invested. And so from there, we were like, he's the type of person that just gives. Like even this connection that we have now, it's because of him. There's certain people that just, they're there to support. But, with JP, he was like, let's push this. Let's go to different events. Let's have Filipino food with people. He was all about the grassroots of promoting Zeus, and we couldn't have done it without him and his wife, and also Richard, his friend, and Mimi. So a lot of people. Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. All right, man. I loved it. I just love this, man. I love that attitude and drive and just making it happen, building that Pacquiao connection. That obviously, yeah, like you said, ABS-CBN, you got all these cats knocking at your door. So the business of independent filmmaking, I want to get into that because I have a lot of other actors and filmmaker friends that, watch this and they want that kind of information. So you got a little bit of, like you said, your training when you were going to do the news up in Arizona. So now though, you're acting in this film, you're also, coordinating, producing this film, learning to edit. Did you bring in like another edit and how the actual construction, because it's a whole lot of additional work after you film it, behind the scenes. Can you take me into like the aspects that you learned or had to teach yourself, or getting the team together to help actually come in there and assist you with all of that?
Yeah. In regards to like the whole production side, it was such a crazy thing, because even my director of photography was like talking to me while we were filming, and he was like, I hope you know who's going to edit this. And I was like, I got somebody. I didn't really have anybody. And so he was like, this is going to be a crazy edit. I said, I got you. And we're going to do it in 30 days. My naivete kicked in, right? I thought I could do something like this. And so on like, I think 3 days prior to us ending, like on the 21st day of, just one of the last days of filming, I was like, oh shoot, I got to find an editor. And so I was just like texting people left and right. And I was texting them the wrong things, because I was like, you're going to have to edit this thing in 30 days. And, of course it takes 6 months to edit a movie. That's the things that I don't know as a filmmaker, a new filmmaker, I was very naive. So I was just like, well, if you're not going to do in 30, I'm going to find someone else. If you're, and then finally, I met someone that till this day, me and him are like so close. His name is Julian Brantley, and he did the whole damn movie in 30 days. God bless his heart. I mean, nonstop. And he showed me futuristic, like cool programming that we could be on the same timeline to edit together, because I learned how to edit as a journalist. So, but he did it all, you know, he would just show it to me and color it. And, you know, so anyways, we got it done. And that was the most, you know, miraculous part is sometimes you don't have the answers, but you just keep going and have faith that you will find the answers, you know?
Hell yeah. So what would you say are top 3 lessons learned for any filmmaker that you could, you know, if we take a snapshot of right now and that, and what you learn on that project, that you would suggest to any young filmmaker that's watching this right now? Top 3.
Wow.
If you can
top 3.
Drop that out there.
Oh man. I guess I would say the first one is, you got to do it. Meaning you can't let it live in your head. Don't do the short film, do the movie. Find a way when there is no way and write that thing. And, you know, I think that's how any business, that's how any successful athlete, that's how anyone, they just don't quit. They have a vision and they just keep going. Even Pacquiao, he'll keep getting knocked out. He'll keep fighting until they force him to retire. I think that's the attitude of number one. You just got to do it. And you got to know what you're doing. At the second, I guess, you know, takeaway I got was that even if you don't know all the answers and you don't know how to make a movie, if you find the right folks, you will. Like, I didn't know anything in terms of like the proper cinematography, but I was like, yo, I love this movie. I love this movie. And I love this movie. I want Zeus to look like these 3 movies. And the right DP, Nathaniel, came in there and was like, okay, let's color this, color that. And I'm just nodding going, yep, roger that, roger that. And I was like, bro, I hope you know, I don't know what you're talking about. If you could look like what I saw, we on the same page. So, you know, he really, you know, showed me how. He was like, the reason why the warrior in this movie called Warrior looks that way is because the way it was colored and stylized. And I was like, all right, do that stuff for us. So, you know, so that's the second lesson, is find people that really know how to do it. And you gotta find a good win-win for them. And the last one is, it's never the perfect time to make a film. Like, I told myself, if I can make a movie in the worst time to ever make a movie, that will show the world that I am deserving to be in this seat. You know, people could talk smack. It's not a good movie. I don't really care about, because I'm like, yo, I did it. But like, you know, in terms of, you know, I remember hearing about Casey Neistat, that YouTuber, and he was like, 9/11 happened and everybody was leaving New York. He was like, I picked up a video camera and I became Casey Neistat. You know, so it was like, damn, you know, he chose the worst time to make vlogs, but he's the best vlogger today. I mean, arguably. So, you know, opportunity and chaos is how I like to look at it.
I love it. There's so many gems in this. I don't know if you see Tina writing away, but she's our official note taker to you know, spotlight certain things that we pick up. So thank you for all these gems, man. I think it's absolutely beautiful. So Chris, man, Zeus, thank you for walking us through that. So when can we, I know you, I think earlier when we were talking right before we started up, I just saw that you have a fight scene that you're getting ready to record. How much production time do we have left? And when can we, you know, hopefully go and support this film, man, down the road?
Oh, thank you. You know, I guess, you know, I was inspired by other people that perfect the process. And, you know, I saw Kanye when he was rolling out his new album, he got feedback from the audience. And that's kind of how I look at, you know, Zeus. It's our first film. It hasn't been released in America yet. I mean, it's on digital and it was released in the Philippines. But I said, you know what? I want to do something no other filmmaker has done. And that's take this level of realism to another level. And I said, let me reshoot the final fight scene of our film and actually go in there into the ring, go the whole 12 rounds against a professional boxer. So, you know, that's insane, but that's, you know, I want the world to see our film, you know, and sometimes you got to do crazy things for the world to see, you know, your masterpiece. And so, you know, our movie raises awareness of Asian hate crimes. It raises awareness of Asians in general. And, you know, it's something I'm very proud of. So by that announcement that we just made this morning, we're going to reshoot that final fight scene, and it's going to get pretty real. And, you know, whether I get knocked out, cut up, bled, whatever, it's, you know, it's gonna be real.
Wild out, wild out. I love it. Okay, one, I need to see the original joint. I would love to check that out, so we can drop a review as well on our channel and all that. But number two, okay, so like you said, you're gonna actually do this and film this, but in order to do that, you got to be. I would assume you're gonna train.
Yes.
So how long is this training gonna go down? How long is that gonna happen? When is like the projected shoot date? So I would assume because that has to happen, so are we going to see this late 2022? Maybe give us a little bit of that.
Yes, we're going to be filming this toward the end of January, just in the next 50 days.
Okay.
So I'm training every day with the, good folks at the House of Boxing in San Diego. And so they're, I told them what I was going to do, and they said they're going to get me ready for it. So, we're going to put on a good show we're looking at January 17th or end of January to put on the real fight, real judges, real ref, open, we're going to open it up so people can watch the fight. And we'll have six cameras shooting simultaneously, like you would watch on a HBO or Showtime special. And it's going to happen in real time. So,
bruh, I might have to fly out to San Diego for this, dog. I might have to hit you up for that invite. I'm intrigued to see this go down, because it's Filipinos. We love our boxing. We love fight movies. Like, hey man, this sounds pretty freaking epic, brother. I'm excited, dude. I love this. So once this is out and done, and you literally knock it out at the end of January, what's the future hold? What's for Chris Soriano and the Dynasty Boys? What do we have brewing in the pot, possibly?
I pray that we can continue to set a model here, that the next Zeus that we do, it will be another real fight scene and another real fight scene, just to differentiate from all the other boxing movies out there. But aside from that, there's a lot of other, ideas that we have that, sometimes it gets pushed back here and there. But here's a crazy one that I've already written. It's a Christian horror film called Job. It's based on the book of Job from the Bible, where the devil and God talk about tempting one man named Job. And so it was a story that I heard in church a lot, and I read it and I was like, dang, that'd be a crazy horror film. So I rewrote it in a modern way, where there's a Asian family who lives in Silicon Valley, and then bad, dark things start happening to him and his family. And so he doesn't know why, but, people start dying, his loved ones, but, so we are, that's already written. And I'm praying that we can make that into a beautiful story to show one man's loyalty to God, despite all the bad things that happened to him. Yeah.
Amazing.
So
Thank you.
Amazing. So you have a lot of stories to tell. Are you also contemplating outside of your own working within the industry as an actor? Are you auditioning? Are you now putting yourself out there for that as well?
I'd love to, but I know how hard it is. Like, I remember when Hillary, my fiance now, and I moved to Pasadena, it was just like, I was like, yeah, let's give this thing a shot. But then it was like, after like 12 auditions, like, dang, ain't nobody going to give us the shot. So, it's like, let's just make our own movies, because there's always that hope. And I don't ever want to knock any actors that want to do that. But I feel like if you want to act, just make your own movies. I mean, it could be a crappy movie, but at least you made it, and at least you're learning how to improve. And that way you give yourself your own opportunities. And I'm proud that, my kids in the future will be able to watch Zeus and any other thing that I made.
Oh, Chris, you froze up. There we go. Chris is back. All right, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, just saying, like, I want to make the films, whether they're crappy or not, myself. So it says my connection's unstable. Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, we got you. Okay. We got you. No worries, my friend.
Well, let's wrap it up with our final question, because we are birds of color. Our final question is always, what is a topic, and you'll have some experience with this, a topic that you can give a TED Talk about? A topic that you're super nerdy, that you could talk for hours on, and you can't say something that you've already given a TED Talk on.
Wow. That thing blew me away. I've never heard such a beautiful question. Damn it.
So it could be
that one.
anything that you're nerdy about, anything that you're passionate about, anything that you're even maybe not even the most knowledgeable about, but like super into.
Wow. If I could give that TED Talk, and that be something that I've delivered in the past, but it's something that I'm really nerded out on that I really appreciate. It would have to be pushing our bodies to the ultimate limit and trying to figure out how far we can go before tapping out. And when I say body, I mean mind, everything, and how we can achieve so much more than we thought we, like a little bit more, but like a lifetime more. So that's what I would try to give a TED Talk on. And just because of the role of tenacity, if you would say, in my life, and how just never quitting, because never quitting sounds so like, I've heard that before, but like, no, like grit, tenacity, like, you know, holding on, Navy SEAL style, like, you know, just really just don't let go. You know, that's whether that could be in love, that could be in life, that could be in faith. So that's probably what I would talk about.
I love that. I think that's going to be like the buzzword of this interview is tenacity, because
right.
Yeah.
Thank you. You said it. Thank you.
There we go. There we go. Well, Chris Soriano, you are now part of our ShoPowSho families. So you're Kuya Chris. Thank you for all this love and light and energy, allowing us to celebrate you. Again, now that you're part of our family, whenever you drop that new project, I want you to come back through. Let us give you those flowers. Let us showcase that to our viewers and bring it to the world. This was truly a pleasure. Our final thing is those new fans that are now going to reach you for you coming on. How can they check you out online? Drop those Twitters and socials, or you know, all the socials and websites, and I'll have it in the description below as well for everybody watching this.
Yeah, you could for anyone who wants to learn how to create films or make movies. You know, I remember DMing so many people to help me, and nobody would. Successful people in the industry. So I want to try to give back any way I can. So contact at zeusthemovie.com, or you could go to chrissoriano.com and just DM me there. But I really want to not just talk about it, but be about it. So if you're really making a movie, that thing is tough. And, you know, I got through it. So anything I can share to help, I'd be more than happy to.
Hell yeah. I love it. My man, Kuya Chris, part of the ShoPowSho family now. Salamat po, brother. Welcome. We are now going to talk about you to close this out. There you go, our man, Kuya Chris Soriano. Check him out. Dynasty Boys. Boom. There you go, Chris Soriano. Check out Zeus when it comes out from the Dynasty Boys. We'll be putting all the links and everything in the description below. A new family member to our ShoPowSho family. Inspiring, you know, not quitting. Got that energy, got that drive. I love it. You love to see that. I know you had some gems, Tina. I saw you viciously writing the information down that he was throwing at us.
Well, he's a TED Talk speaker, so of course you know that he had the gems. Knew it. I knew it when going into this. I was like, I'm gonna be ready. No, but we said earlier, like the word of the interview really is tenacity, and just I was calling it audacity, because that was just so like what was his catchphrase? If the front door is locked and the back door is jammed, the window should be your next option. Like, don't take no for an answer. Don't take a shut door as, you know, not an entrance. Like that's really inspiring. I love how that was the running theme through those major beats of his life, and just turning that into then producing movies that shed the light on stopping Asian hate and being the movies that he wanted to see. So
hell yeah. I love
like,
that.
Wonderful.
Yeah. I'm gonna add to that. You know, you said tenacity, but as Asian American filmmakers, as Filipino filmmakers, as Southeast Asian filmmakers, it's that audacity of tenacity that they have about us. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to give it to us. We gonna keep at it. You know, and they're gonna that the audacity of these motherfuckers. We coming at you.
that's another thing that we're always saying is like, if we don't tell our own stories, then someone else is going to tell them for us. And we don't want that.
I love it. I love it. Kuya Chris in the house. Dynasty Boys building out his own dynasty. I loved it. Love to see it. Shout out to Kuya Chris for coming through. And shout out to JP Zarati, the Paper Tigers. If y'all haven't seen Paper Tigers, go check it out. He was one of the producers behind that project. And a lot of we had Alan Wee that came through. Just all the amazing Paper Tigers that I've encountered and met and interviewed and talked to this entire year. I love it. Shout out to that whole crew over there. And now Chris Soriano coming through with Zeus. Super excited to see how that project turns out. I may have to fly out to San Diego, Tina. I love boxing. And if this brother's going to go the rounds, what? Crazy.
Yeah, I'm like,
that's another level. So I'm very curious how that brother's going to do with that. But shout out to him, man. You love to see it. All right, Tina. This was another amazing one. Thank you again for your time. All the love to Kat, who's in here with in spirits, holding it down over in Japan. But how can they reach out to you, Tina, and everything with the Stuffy Spa?
Yes, check me out and all the work I'm doing in the Stuffy Spa. I'm on TikTok at viva.valentina. I'm also on Instagram at viva.valentina. You can find me on Twitter and chess.com at vivavalentina.xo. I'm not really on Twitter anymore. I don't know why I plug it.
Yeah, I have noticed that. All the love, though. There's so many things to handle. Sure. I need a street team. We need hey, everybody watching this, y'all want to get down with ShoPowSho? We need a street team, y'all. Give us some love. I'm ready. I can get you some free swag. All right. Kataphorric. Make sure you follow Kataphorric, our lovely, amazing ate who's holding it down in Japan. I believe it's Kataphorric on everything, right?
Yep. At Kataphorric.
Kataphorric.
Instagram. Follow her adventures.
There you go. And all the food stuff she's posting up, because I think she's been sharing quite a bit of food. Because there's amazing food over there. For your boy, me, Kuya P, the legend Kuya P on Twitter, TikTok, and IG, over at the Nerds of Color, and of course here at ShoPowSho and at the NRW and at New Release Wednesday, where nerds rule the world. My girl Viva Valentina, your boy Kuya P, Kataphorric and Spirit, Kuya Chris Soriano, another amazing ShoPowSho in the books. Mahakita, salamat. We're out of here, y'all.
Makita din.
Boom, boom.
My name is Chris Soriano, and I'm a film director, and I'm very excited to be a featured guest on the ShoPowSho. Make sure to check it out because we're going to talk about movies and Manny Pacquiao. Hi, my name is Chris Soriano, and I'm a film director, and I'm very proud of my Filipino heritage because I come from a family of extremely hard workers, Filipino nurse and dad in the Navy. So if there's anything I learned is to really put everything you've got into what you love. And that's what makes my Filipino heritage important to me.